Now let's talk about Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's address to the US Congress today. He invoked Winston Churchill in his impassioned plea for more arms.
In World War II, as Britain fought on the front lines of civilization, Winston Churchill appealed to Americans with these famous words: "Give us the tools and we'll finish the job." Today, as Israel fights on the front line of civilization, I too appeal to America. Give us the tools faster and we'll finish the job faster.
He also made references to the anti-Israeli demonstrations that erupted across DC in the lead up to his address, calling those who support a free Palestine as idiotic followers of Iran.
The anti-Israel protests that are going on right now outside this building, not that many, but they're there, and throughout the city. Well, I have a message for these protesters. When the tyrants of Tehran, who hang gays from cranes and murder women for not covering their hair, are praising, promoting, and funding you, you have officially become Iran's useful idiots.
One of those useful idiots for Iran was far-left Congresswoman squad member Rita Tlaib, who held up a paddle with the words "war criminal" on it for the duration of Netanyahu's speech. But at least she turned up, Kosha. Neither Joe Biden nor Kamala Harris greeted Netanyahu when he arrived on American soil, and more than 50 members of Congress skipped his speech today. That's not the sign of a great ally when a country is at war.
Indeed. And, I think the harsh reality of it for Netanyahu and Israel is there really is a fracturing in both parties in terms of the level of support for this war now, not October 7th and the atrocities and the hostages that are still there, but what to do now, how much U.S. involvement monetarily, militarily should go. That's on the right. And then on the left, as you point out, Rita Tlaib and all of them, they have a huge fracturing where you've got a big part of the left of the political base that she represents and others out there doing these protests. They're against this additional support, and that's a tightrope that Biden and Harris are trying to walk, and that's probably why they decided to just avoid the whole thing, because they're trying to appeal to two factions in their base, but I'm not sure avoidance is something that signals strength, and it was curious that Harris didn't actually jump on the opportunity to look more presidential.
Well, last week during the Republican National Conference, they started the conference with a prayer for the hostages. That issue was very present throughout. There were parents of hostages who spoke. I will be very interested to see what happens at the DNC, whether there is anything approaching that level of support for Israel, because that fracture within the left is deep, and they've got members of their team who are openly anti-Israel, who are openly anti-Semitic, some of them.
It's a good point, and it'll be very telling about which side is more powerful in that base.
Now, let's go back to Kamala, and the Democrats are desperately trying to rebrand the historically unpopular Kamala Harris. Their latest attempt involves gaslighting us into thinking she was never actually made border czar, and that many of the problems that we're seeing with illegal immigration have got really nothing to do with her. Axios tweeted an article claiming that Harris never actually had the border czar title, suggesting Trump and the Republicans are peddling disinformation. That's odd, because Axios themselves reported her appointment to the border czar role in 2021 and referred to her as such in subsequent articles. This is Orwellian levels of rewriting of history, Kosha. And it's not just Axios, it is so many mainstream publications. There's side-by-side articles of what they reported then, what they're claiming now. And again, if you're not deeply politically engaged, you'd read the headlines now and go, well, this is a smear. This is not Kamala's fault.
But for X, which is the one wrench in the whole memory hole apparatus, because that is what it is. In 1984, they were burning newspapers and tossing them into physical holes. Now you can delete and rewrite headlines, with a keystroke from a keypad, and that's what they're going to do. But for X, the community note on that was really funny, where they were posting the original articles, from the very same publications that said that. But again, this race is on, this battle is on, and for low information media consumers, which this election will turn on, which narrative is going to get cut through is what we're going to see in the next 90 days.
Now, let's talk about that rebranding. What part of that is also painting her as cool, as this Gen Z, edgy candidate, invoking singer Charlie XCX. I don't even know if is that how you pronounce it? You just
I think so. I think I'm dating myself too.
Saying, she's got this brat design for her Kamala headquarters Twitter page, and they're even reclaiming her famous coconut tree speech, which she has been mocked for constantly, and they're hailing her as a TikTok phenomenon. But actually, among young voters, some of that research is showing she is wildly unpopular. This poll has her trailing Trump 58% to 39% amongst voters aged 18 to 34. And I think that's what you touched on, that Trump's popularity is more organic. It's not manufactured. He's got YouTube superstars like the Paul brothers. He's got the UFC fighters. He's got the hottest comics around like Theo Von and Andrew Schultz backing him. While this brat Kamala summer thing seems to be really forced and carefully manufactured, but she is trending on TikTok, and I don't think that's by accident. I think everything that trends on TikTok is a decision someone's made.
Yep, algorithmically or otherwise, other strategies, the black magic of that. It is fascinating. This organic support versus synthetic support is very clear who has which one. And it is funny that Trump, who's almost 80, 79, is organically popular with young people. Not many 79-year-olds would be, so that, credit to him for that. And it's not as easy as just putting in somebody young. I think Kamala is 59. That doesn't automatically translate with her appeal.
She looks much better than 50. She does not look her age.
She does. We've got to give her credit.
She can dance, so I'll give her that.
We'll give her credit for that, and maybe that'll come through on TikTok.
Kosha Gada, thank you so much for your time this evening.